versus right. While we pay to keep our politicians fighting, how do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
Hey, it is Larry Sharp. I am so happy to be talking to you this afternoon, this glorious Tuesday. Not as hot as it has been, but maybe for some of you, but not as bad for me here. So I guess I shouldn't complain. So happy to be here. WYSL, Rochester, New York, on A Free Solution. You might say to yourself, Larry, I think I have heard of you from other places. You're right. I'm usually host of the Sharp Way Show. You can check me out on the Sharp Way on all the interweb things. You know, I want to tell a story, two of them actually, from when I was a kid. I recently saw a video about the quote, most dangerous neighborhoods in New York City. Now, I don't know if that's true. That's what the video maker said. So perhaps it's true. But the area he was talking about was the South Bronx. Some of you may know that's where I was raised as a kid. My father and mother raised me there until I was about 12 or so. So as a little kid in the South Bronx, this is the 70s, tells you how old I am. This is the early 70s when I was in the Bronx. My father and my mother, I was an only child, were in our apartment in the Bronx. By the way, I lived at 901 Walton Avenue, for those of you who may know what that is, right by Yankee Stadium. And he had a friend. And his friend had a girlfriend. His girlfriend came to our house. My mother knew her also. She was trying to flee. She was escaping her boyfriend, who was my father's friend. She said, I'm scared of him. Can I stay here? And my mother agreed, and she stayed, trying to escape her angry boyfriend, who was my father's friend. Now, my father was in law enforcement. Some of you know that. And he very often carried his gun on him. In fact, always. And I don't know if it's still popular, but back in the day, it was common for law enforcement officers, when they were not on duty, to carry their pistol. My father had a revolver, a snub nose, in his ankle holster. Again, don't know if that's popular now. Back in the 70s with bell bottoms, which is what the style was back then, a lot of people carried their firearms there. My father was one of them, wearing his early 70s bell bottoms. It was fine to carry a pistol there. And he did. So I was not unaccustomed to seeing a firearm. I saw it all the time. So his friend comes over, convinces my dad, hey, can I come over, talk to my girlfriend? He comes over. When he comes over, he flies into a rage. He also was in law enforcement, pulls out his pistol, and smashes his girlfriend in the face with the butt. He pistol whipped her. I assume broke her nose because blood flew everywhere. And I still remember this. I was probably 6 years old when I saw this. And I didn't get it. Maybe I was 7, elementary school. I didn't understand. Why? This is his girlfriend. Why are you hitting her? Why are you breaking her nose? I don't get it. The night ends. I'm shocked. Don't know what to do. I asked my parents the next day, what did I watch? Right now, they didn't want me to see that, but they didn't know he was going to do that. So they thought he's just going to talk to his girlfriend and they're going to fix things. And it's fine if little Larry's running around. He knows them both. This is family-friendly stuff. Out comes the pistol. Bam. Okay, now what do I do? So later, my mom said he was angry because she was bad to him, that kind of thing, trying to pacify it over, almost excusing his actions. So I then, as I got older, I brought it up again. And I realized what it was is she was cheating on him. And he was angry and he thought, I'm going to show her. Does that make it okay? Of course not. To be crystal clear, of course not. What I just did is I explained violence. I did excuse it. It's still wrong. He shouldn't have done it. He should have been punished for it. Of course he should have. He wasn't. She didn't press charges. Nothing happened. But that isn't the point. The point is, I can understand why he did it without accepting that it was right or correct. There's a difference between explaining and excusing. Fast forward several years. I'm 11 or 12 years old. My father is dying of cancer. I don't understand it. I'm mad at the world. My father's dying. I did something stupid as a kid. I don't remember what I did. My parents are yelling at me and angry at me for doing the dumb thing. But they're also mad because their world is ending because my father is dying. And they know it. And they're mad at me and the world. And I'm mad at me and the world and my dad and everybody. So I threw a glass as I was trying to talk. I was trying to talk to my parents as probably a 12-year-old or 11-year-old. And they just wouldn't hear me. They just wanted to yell at me and insult me and take their anger out on somebody. And here was Larry. Well, Larry didn't want to take it at one point, and he was tired, and he wanted to say his stuff too. I was also angry and mad that my father was dying in front of me. The guy who I thought was Superman was dying. So I threw my glass, and it shattered everywhere. And it looked almost like I threw it at him. And maybe I did. Just angry, so mad. I threw my glass. Was that right? Of course not. I shouldn't have thrown my glass at my dad. I shouldn't have broken everything. Of course not. But could you understand why? Of course. Yet again, I am explaining violence, not excusing it at all. Why would I tell you this? Why would I bring any of this up? Because I see violence across this state constantly. Just saw it this weekend. 16-year-old kid beating up cops. Fighting cops now. That's the new thing. Now we fight cops. We are so violent now that even authority figures don't matter anymore. So what are we going to do? Well, I see people say the same old things. No change. Democrats go, well, we need to install a chief safety officer. I'm not joking. That's literally their answer. Democrats go, let's make more bureaucracy because that'll solve the problem. And then what Republicans say, no bail reform, lock everybody up, because that always solves the problem. The war on drugs has been a striking success. Oh, wait, no, it hasn't. So yet again, I have Democrats, the party of bad ideas, and Republicans, the party of no ideas. Lock more people up. Instead of doing what I just did, understanding and trying to actually explain why there is violence, not excusing it. You start beating up cops, you got to go to jail. I'm okay with that. I understand that and respect that. I'm not okay with not trying to figure out why that happened so we can stop it. I don't want to put kids in jail for beating up cops. I want kids to not beat up cops. This is the part that no one seems to understand. And that most of this is not only explainable, but it's self-inflicted. What you will not hear people say on the left or the right, which I've been saying for 5 years, is there are reasons for all violence. And for the last 2 years or 3 years, I've been saying what's made it grow even faster and harder were the lockdowns. That's the problem, the lockdowns. We have been violent for a while. That's been a thing. We're not a non-violent world. We are violent here or there. But if you go back prior to 2020, try to find cops who are being beaten up and killed. It was rare in New York State. That was a rarity. It happened, don't get me wrong. Being a cop is a tough job. But prior to 2020, it wasn't deadly. It was a difficult job, but it wasn't deadly. Well, compared to others. Now it's deadly. What changed between 2019 and 2020? Why are we now going to a point where being a cop is now deadly? Lockdowns. Who are the perpetrators of the vast majority of this violence? Young men. I say it all the time. Young men. If you don't give our young men purpose, they will resort to violence. This is not me making this up. This is literally thousands of years of history. Young men are our problem. Who's helping them? Who's changing their life? Only guy I know talking about this is the guy you listen to right now. Am I right? Am I wrong? Tell me. 585-346-3000 or reach out via chat. I'll be back after the break here. Larry Sharp, A Free Solution, WYSL, Rochester, New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Hey, this is Kevin Wilson, host of A Free Solution. You ever need a tool for just one project, but didn't want to spend the cash for something you'd use just once or twice? Well, there's a new tool library in Rochester where you can borrow just the thing you need instead of buying a new one. It's called the Tool Shed from the Southeast Area Coalition, and membership starts at just $25 a year. Use it for home projects or to support your business. Learn more and become a member at seektoolshed.org. That's SEAC toolshed.org.
Only available in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com. Official top quality tees, hoodies, and coffee mugs depicting the colorful WYSL logo or the already famous Mount Worstmore line of merch depicting Mount Rushmore style are for worst presidents. Of course, you know who is front and center up on that mountain. WYSL official items make perfect gifts, or they're a great way for you to make a personal statement. Locally produced and sold only in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com.
A free solution on the WYSL stations.
Yes, Larry Sharp back here on Our Free Solution, WYSL, Rochester, New York. So happy to be here with you. And if you say, Larry, I like this show, you should. It's a cool show. You can watch it. You can listen to it. You can follow it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Just go on either Facebook or YouTube and follow A Free Solution. And you're there. You know, before the break, I was talking about violence. It goes further than just violence, because you might say to yourself, well, Larry, what do I care about this violence in your cities? I don't live in your cities. I don't care. You might think that. I get that. But you should care, because that violence is part of the MTA. You might go, Larry, what do I care about the MTA? I don't live in New York City. Doesn't matter to me. Okay, let me tell you why you should care. The MTA was already a financial boondoggle, and the state used to pay $6 billion every year to the MTA. Well, that was getting worse. Why? Oh, yeah, COVID, the lockdowns. The lockdowns ruined it, right? So you lock everything down, you shut it all down, and now we have violence, which comes also from the shutdowns, from the lockdowns. And now 1 in 3 commuters no longer uses the MTA. So the MTA is now another $2 billion in the red. Now, it hasn't been that bad. Why? Because Uncle Joe Biden has been writing New York State checks. Thank you, Uncle Joe. I like that. Thank you for writing us checks. The problem is those checks are going to stop, and those checks are all just Fed debt. So short term, thank you. Long term, we're in trouble. We're in trouble because those are going to end. And when those end, and I think it's 2 years, the MTA is going to be over $13 billion in debt. Deficit. Deficit. What's that? What does that mean? That means all you New Yorkers who don't live in New York City are going to keep paying for my MTA. I guess I should say thanks. I can ride the subway because of you. The problem is, I don't want to ride a subway. I would like to not be stabbed. You know, crazy. I'd rather not be, attacked with feces. I'd rather that not happen to me or my family. I also don't want to be pushed on the subway tracks. I'd rather that not happen. But thank you for paying for my subway. You should care. It does matter. Because now, what is the answer? Well, Democrats, of course, would like to punish their already installed chief safety officer. What? The chief safety officer didn't work? Are you telling me that more bureaucracy didn't work? What? Yeah, it's true. Republicans end bail reform because that'll stop violence. Never. That's the only answers. Meanwhile, $13 billion the state's going to have to come up with when the budget is already $220 billion and we're already running out of money. And people are leaving this state probably 500,000 a year now, give or take. Somewhere between 200 and 500,000, not million, sorry. Between 200 and 500,000 will be leaving every year. How are we going to fix that? We're not. Because we don't focus on the number one issue, young men. You would get mad at me. Other people don't matter, Larry. Of course other people matter. All New Yorkers matter. In this specific case, I'm talking about violence. And when it comes to violence, it is overwhelmingly young men. Not even close. Like 90% young men. You want to deal with violence? Deal with young men. Period. And we don't. Everything else. Young men is a critical piece here. It isn't bail reform. It isn't chief safety officers. Don't get me wrong. Bail reform is bad. But that's not going to solve the problem. That'll just put more young men in jail. Again, it's not that if you do a crime, you shouldn't go to jail. It's let's make an environment where less people do crimes. Jail doesn't bring my family member back. Jail doesn't traumatize a victim. Jail doesn't do that. Not having the event is a whole lot better. That is what I want to focus on. And that is about giving young men two things: purpose and community. Those two things is the key. You've seen my policies. You've heard me talk about it all the time. Purpose and community. When you give young men purpose and community, they don't do dumb stuff. Well, sorry. They don't do violent stuff. They still do dumb stuff. That still happens. I'm sorry. They don't do violent stuff. They don't commit crimes, right? I look at my own life, and I was telling you stories about my youth. And I'll tell you one more. When I was a youngster, teenager, I was lost too. And a lot of people ask, well, how could you fix this, Larry? Your father was gone. You didn't have any positive male role models. What'd you do? I joined the Marines. That was it. Now, I know as a libertarian, people go, wait a minute. I thought you don't like the draft. I don't. The draft is a bad idea. You should go in the military voluntarily. Please, if you think it's the right thing for you, go. If you don't go. What I say is, it was exactly the right answer for me. It gave me purpose. It gave me community. And I've said more than once, and I'll keep saying it. The Marine Corps saved my life. I really believe that. I'd have been doing some dumb stuff in my life if I didn't have the Marine Corps. I'm very glad I joined. It gave me purpose. It gave me community. It doesn't mean your son or daughter should do that. If they think so, they should. I'm not against the military. I am against people being drafted. Go because you feel it's right. It was absolutely the right answer for me. Purpose and community will save this state, will save this nation. And when we locked down our state for 2 years, we removed both of those from our youth for 2 years, and we are still recovering. And when you have young men who believe they have no future, who believe they have nothing to lose, they're going to beat up cops because they don't care. They don't think there's any future. Who cares? What's cop going to put me in jail? I don't care. What's cop going to shoot me? I don't care. Why do you think people are going up there and shooting places up, knowing they're probably going to die or go to jail? They don't care. One of the most deadly things in this world is a young man with nothing to lose. Let's give them something to lose. And then they'll stop being so violent. And they won't want to fight. And they won't want to do the bad things. And they'll make our society better. I know I'm being preachy today. I know I am. But sometimes I think I have to. Because we're focusing on things that don't matter. We're focusing on things that are so secondary and tertiary. Because who cares of the other stuff if young men are shooting up your neighborhood? Who cares about the other stuff if you can't sell your house or build your business or send your kid to school because young men are shooting up your neighborhood? If you can't move because you can't sell your house because young men are shooting up your neighborhood? This is a critical piece. We should work on it. Let me grab some of the chat if I could. Thank you for hearing my preachiness today. I do appreciate it tremendously. So Joe says, cheating. I knew it. That's why I don't get into relationships. Lose 90% of the time. You know, Joe, I get that. I do. I get why people don't want to get into relationships. I do. Here is my response. It's a classic one. Better to have loved and lost than not to have loved. Everything in life is temporary. Everything is. It's what's got me through my hardest parts in life and what's made me think and try to enjoy the greatest parts of my life, my greatest joys and my lowest lows, because I knew that both are temporary. So enjoy the joy because it's going to go away, and fight through the pain. It'll go away too. That's just my view. That's it. So, Ann says, Larry, will you be on the ballot? You said July 25th was a date you would know for sure. I hope so. We ordered a Larry Sharp for Governor Yardside. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. Keep that sign, but I will not know for sure for a couple more days of what's going to happen. The judge will make his decision. I hope it's the right one, Ann. But either way, keep that sign. I'm not going anywhere. Now, should I? Let me know. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharp, a free solution. WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back after the break.
Celebrating 35 years.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll have mainly clear skies, still comfortably cool in the 50s and 60s. On Wednesday, a little warmer. Sun will fade behind increasing clouds, temps into the mid-80s. Chance for a shower or thunderstorm Wednesday night. Thursday, warm, a little bit more humid. Sun and clouds, an isolated shower or thunder threat. Temperatures in the mid-80s, near 80 on Friday. I'm Rich Gadelia, WYSL.
Summer fun follows you both on and off-road thanks to your new ride from Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Anthony Drive off Route 96 in Victor. You can get savings and selection in America's favorite four-wheel drive vehicles like the 22 Jeep Compass Latitude 4x4, just $299 a month for 36 months. Speak on Quest, let's see. The 22 Ram 1500 Classic Warlock Quad Cab 4x4 pickup is just $259 a month for 36 months. Speak on Quest, let's see. Test drive a 22 Ram Power Wagon, 5 in stock to choose from. And here's a great way to save with special 0% APR savings through Chrysler Capital on Wagoneer Series 2 and 3 vehicles only during July. Victor has 4 vehicles in stock under this program, so hurry. Ask about program conditions. On Ram and Compass, first payment, DMV, taxes and fees due at signing. Other conditions may apply. See dealer for details. We're here to fully serve Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and throughout the Metro and Finger Lakes. Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 6560 Anthony Drive in Victor.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Justin, listen to Brooke.
Hey Justin, let's go to the Lima Crossroads Festival. All the rides are free, all the music's free. The bed races are a scream to watch too.
Are you sure it's free? Free seems hard to believe.
It is free because the Lima area businesses donate the money to keep the festival free. And that leaves you more money to spend on me.
Justin, the festival is August 4th through 7th.
Okay, you're always right. You can't beat free.
See limafest.org for all the details. Come to the Crossroads. It's a breath of fresh air.
Identity theft is a growing problem in the United States. Sheriff Thomas J. Doherty would like to offer some tips on avoiding identity theft. Do not carry your Social Security card. Do not put your Social Security or driver's license numbers on your checks. Do not give out any information to telephone solicitors or unsolicited email. Do not throw out personal papers or credit cards without shredding them or tearing them into small pieces. Once a person gets your driver's license and Social Security number, they get credit cards that are in your name and they have just stolen your identity. If you are a victim, contact the Livingston County Sheriff's Office for assistance.
Flower City Collision in Henrietta is your hometown body shop, trusted by numerous corporate fleets and properly insured and registered in New York. Flower City Collision specializes in working with insurance companies on your behalf. Having built a culture where they respect the customer and their employees as well, Flower City Collision has assembled the best collision team in the Rochester area. If you need repair, reach out to Zach at Flower City Collision in Henrietta, and he will work with your national insurance company on your local behalf to ensure you get the repair you need done right.
Geneseo Hardware and Rental has all your project needs. They have a large selection of hardware, plumbing, electrical, home goods, lawn and garden, plus much more. Geneseo Hardware offers Valspar paint, Cabot stains, a wide selection of rental items, plus screen and window repair. Get personalized service. Open 7 days a week. Geneseo Hardware and Rental, Route 20A next to Wegmans Plaza. Visit Geneseo-rental.com.
Now offering lumber.
Okay, we have a caller. We have Keith from Rochester.
We know it's been tough.
You're welcome.
With government working against you post-pandemic. So we've come up with a low-cost ad package, and for a limited time, once you're a WYSL advertiser, we'll run a bonus that's free extra schedule for job openings you're trying to fill. We'll feature your business and describe the positions you have open, all at absolutely no charge. At the WYSL stations, we're not just the voice of liberty, we're the small business friend. Call 346-3000 for details. All major credit cards welcome.
A free solution on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharp here on a free solution. WYSL, Rochester, New York. 585-346-3000 is the number. Before the break, I was talking about violence, the MTA, why you should care, and of course, young men, the critical piece here. I'm going to grab a call if I can. Keith from Rochester. How are you, sir?
Yes, in the last half hour, you've been making some salient points, and you were kind of hopscotching around there. So I was trying to, in my thoughts, maybe just bring it full circle. When I was growing up, I always had the impression that people in power knew how to fix things. There was an assurance and a reassurance that we had what I'm going to call a competent class of professionals that just knew what was going on. And then we find out years later, I'm thinking of, you mentioned Johnson, Robert McNamara, the Secretary of Defense.
Oh,
who,
yeah.
Years
Vietnam.
later admitted how he got us in the war. I think, for me, not to keep everyone in the audience, what's missing today is that feeling of reassurance that the people in power who supposedly should know just because of their positions of power and how they got there, and et cetera, we don't have that faith in our leaders anymore, and
Yes.
We're melting down. The old maxim that politics follows the culture. We've had a drastic meltdown in the culture. I'm conservative, so when the Democrats say grab up all the guns, they refuse to acknowledge the mental health issues that,
Yes.
I'm going to say it, their lefty culture has ushered in. A lot of our young people have melted down for quite some time. I happened to have gone this morning in the 8 a.m. hour grocery shopping, and I got, here, I have it here, Life Explorers, music of 1968, rock and roll's greatest year. 1968 is 54 years in the past.
Yes.
We've had a long time for the culture to melt down, and I guess about the only thing I can say without keeping people unduly is that human nature never changes. In 1968, we were having the war.
That's right.
And everything else, but gosh darn, because I think the 70s were the most debilitating decade. I know for myself, I was completely at loose ends. I left home early after my mom's suicide, and I was just knocking around all over the place. And,
no, I think you're right. And let me touch a couple pieces here if I could. I think when historians look back to America and they try to find an era or a thing that was hugely changing, pivotal in America, it'll be the Vietnam War. That war, to your point, and you brought up McNamara, because that's the piece when we began to distrust our institutions, right? Nixon, Watergate, that was the beginning of us not trusting our institutions. And the problem is, well, there's a part of that that's very good, right? We shouldn't have blind trust in any institution. However, we should trust our institutions. And I don't mean just government, like we should trust our colleges. We don't. We should trust, our court system. We don't. We should trust our political leaders. We don't. But we should, right? In a perfect world, or even a good world, we should trust them. But to follow Reagan, trust but verify. That's what we should be doing. The problem is, once we began to distrust them, they didn't say, oh my God, they don't trust us anymore. Let's be even more transparent so that we can gain their trust. This is the opposite. They went, oh, they found us out. Cover up, cover up, cover up. Put them in the dark, put them in the dark, put them in the dark. Distraction, distraction, distraction. And the best distractions against actually trying to change things is, to your point, is culture war. Let's use culture war so that we can distract from the bigger problems. And I think that's what actually happened. I'm with you, Keith. I think you're right.
Well, in closing, I'm far from organized religion. My father was a full Episcopal priest. I like to think of myself as spiritual and not so much theological, but I'm going to be non-denominational here in closing. They always say we have to have a coming to Jesus. I think our country is fully corrupt, and until we get down on bended knee, no matter what the denomination, until we really come back to God, our country is sinking, and we've just got to see that only by coming back to our spiritual roots are we going to get it back together.
Keith, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. So let me go one step further to what Keith said. The concept of going on bended knee to God or nature, whatever, I don't want to be denominational also, whatever you feel, higher power, whatever that is for you, is that you become humble. You recognize that there's something greater than yourself, that you're not perfect and wonderful. I would say that's true. However, not required to be a higher power. That's fine if that works for you. But the higher power could simply be the people or the nation or your community. Many of you have been surprised how open I have been with my personal life. And for someone running for office, I've been very open. Why? There are two reasons. One of them is what Keith said. I recognize that I'm just human. I recognize that the answer, this is my second part, is always going to be more transparency. If we're ever going to get back to a point of trusting our institutions, which we should in a good society, that should be true, those institutions must be crazily, insanely transparent for years. They're going to have to show us all of their faults, all of their warts, all of their problems, which we all have. None of us are perfect. We all have our problems. We all have our issues. Show us all the issues and problems and let us point the finger, and don't defend yourself. Say, look, you're right. I messed this up. I'm human. You do that enough, over time, we will trust our institutions again. That might take a generation. I don't know how long it'll take, but there is no other answer. The other answer is, to Keith's point, we keep, what's his word, decaying? We keep decaying if we don't go down that road. And I'm trying my best, as you see, to be as transparent as I possibly can so that I can retain some trust for as long as possible, until eventually you all think I'm corrupt. Hey, I may become corrupt. Who knows? But the longer I do this, the less chance that will happen, and the better chance I can be less corrupt for a longer period of time. So I absolutely agree. Yes. So Peter goes on and he says, because policing has ceased to be policing and has become a protection racket. Just listen to Pat Lynch and tell me he's not a mob figure. Pat Lynch is the leader of the police union. Is that right? I think that's correct. What I would argue is that's kind of true, but more importantly, I think there's a bigger point here, is that too many local authorities, because of financial pressure, have turned cops into a profit center. I'll say it a bazillion times and I won't stop. I want cops going after bad guys. I don't want them collecting money. That's not what cops should be doing. Go after bad guys. There's lots of bad guys. Go after them. And I would argue most cops would rather do that than be giving out tickets and that kind of thing. And as a side point, do you know where most cop altercations happen in the MTA? Stopping fare jumpers. Yes, trying to ticket people who jump the fares. Yeah. Not that people should jump fares. I'm not saying that. Just make it harder or make it easier or whatever. Fix the system for fares instead of having cops fighting 16-year-olds who are jumping fares. That's not a good use of our police force. There are people who are shooting people and killing people and raping and trying to stab. Those people, go after them. So I would change a little bit. Patricia says, where I live, a 20 unit of townhouses in public housing, we went from neighborhood barbecues and fun days 2015 to 2020 to cops here weekly, if not daily, for drugs, violence, or just plain stupidity. Yeah, I keep saying this. And Patricia, I'm glad you said it. Take my emotion, not at you, with you. 2020 is the key year. It's when things changed. And what happened in 2020? Oh, right, lockdowns. So you took a neighborhood in public housing and you took away their ability to go to work, their ability to be with friends, their ability to be human beings, and you wonder why you have a drug problem. Huh, crazy. And you wonder why you have a crime problem. And you wonder why you have a violent problem. Yeah, self-inflicted wounds. The damage that we are receiving years later from the lockdowns, sadly, is not done. And I will ask you, what person running for office, what person trying to fix things is talking about that? This is the core. This is the root. Purpose and community is the root. Everything else comes from that. And that will end peace decay. Am I wrong? 585-346-3000. Larry Sharp, A Free Solution, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back after the break.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hey, this is Kevin Wilson, host of A Free Solution. You ever need a tool for just one project, but didn't want to spend the cash for something you'd use just once or twice? Well, there's a new tool library in Rochester where you can borrow just the thing you need instead of buying a new one. It's called the Tool Shed from the Southeast Area Coalition, and membership starts at just $25 a year. Use it for home projects or to support your business. Learn more and become a member at seektoolshed.org. That's SEAC toolshed.org.
Hi, Bob Savage here with a boost and good news for business owners and managers. We know it's been tough sledding with government working against you post-pandemic, so we've come up with a low-cost ad package, and for a limited time, once you're a WYSL advertiser, we'll run a bonus that's free extra schedule for job openings you're trying to fill. We'll feature your business and describe the positions you have open, all at absolutely no charge. At the WYSL stations, we're not just the voice of liberty, we're the small business friend. Call 346-3000 for details. All major credit cards welcome.
A Free Solution on the WYSL stations.
Larry Sharp here on A Free Solution, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Thank you for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. We've been talking about violence, community, the youth, MTA. I want to grab a bunch of your chat. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you who watch and listen online, thank you so much for jumping into the chat. I appreciate it. Let me grab a couple of these points here, if I could. Let's see here. John says, if communities gave incentives to local small businesses to hire and train the youth and nonprofit programs that involve the high school graduates to continue to trade schools would be a major way to help get involved in that purpose. I agree. And some of you may not know this. There is actually almost a magic pill to stopping young men from going back to jail. And that magic pill is 5 years of work. Yes, that is physically true. If you get someone who's been arrested and or gone to jail or prison, and they get out and they're able to work for 5 years, the odds of them going back to jail are actually less than someone who's never gone to jail. Literally, that's the numbers. If you think I'm making it up, do your own homework. 5 years is the magic number. If you can get some young man to start working for 5 years, guess what happens? They will have built up purpose, they will have built up community, and they don't go back to jail. John, you are on the money, which is why my policy has been very simple. If you hire a felon, you pay no payroll tax for 2 years. Now, what people always tell me is, but then, Larry, people will just hire felons for 2 years and then fire them and rehire felons and never pay payroll tax. Good. You're training my felons. Good. That's a price to pay. I can lose your payroll tax, or I can pay $80,000 to incarcerate my youth, and they make no money and pay no taxes. No worries. Please do that. I hope more people create that policy. I only hire felons. That's all I do. I don't ever want to pay payroll tax ever. Deal. Your terms are acceptable. Yes. If we did things like that, you'd have more people finding that purpose, more people in a community doing things and growing. This is what I want. You are correct. You also notice my policy of ending K through 12 and doing K through 10. And the last 2 years is either prep school for college, an actual college if you're that smart, and some of the kids are brilliant, they can jump right into college, or trade school. All of a sudden now, I got kids who are 16, 17, 18 years old who have purpose. I have schools filled with people, kids who want to be in school, not those who are sad to be there and now have no purpose and are now joining gangs all over the place. Yeah, John, I agree completely. I really wish that more people would see that and even talk about it. No one's even taking that. By the way, my K through 10 plan has been around for 5 years. I spoke about it on Joe Rogan. I spoke about it on Glenn Beck. Just take my ideas, guys. I don't have to run. I can do this all day instead. I don't have to go run. So yes. Anyway, I love that. John continues, I was always told trust is lost in seconds. It takes a lifetime to regain, but it's never as strong as it once was. You know, John, I would disagree. I think that once trust is lost, if it is regained, it can actually be stronger. It can be stronger. And I'll give you a very crazy example. There's some data, if you go looking, couples that experience infidelity and that don't break up, right? Those that don't break up, infidelity very often ends a relationship. But if it doesn't, there's a higher percentage that if you stay together, if it doesn't break you up, by percentage, there's a higher chance that you'll actually have a stronger relationship. That if you're able to get past that betrayal and loss of trust, the bond, statistically, not always, obviously, gets actually stronger. Because now the person's like, I get it, never again. Now they're verifying. Now they feel good. Trust actually becomes stronger. So I'm not saying cheat on your significant other. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there is a chance that once you've lost the trust, that it can be stronger. And I can only hope that in our nation, that if we're able to regain that trust, it will be stronger. Do I know that to be true? I don't. It's hope. And yes, I'm an optimist. If you follow me at all, you know, guilty as charged, I am an optimist. And that's what I'm trying to achieve. Patricia says, figuring out what you want to be remembered for in 100 years is finding your meaning in life. You know, for my day job, when the government lets me work, I do a lot of training, teaching, coaching. Some of the things I bring up in classrooms or in boardrooms or even on the phone with somebody is the concept of saying, look at your tombstone. Think about somebody who is reading your eulogy. What do you want them to say? What do you want that person to say? Do you just want the old loving spouse and sibling? Is that what you want? Which is not bad. Is that all you want? You want something more. And if you want something more, what are you doing to make it more? The thing you want that person to say. What do you want them to say? Are you doing something to make that happen? I think that's a key way to look at your life, right? The famous Japanese swordsman, Miyamoto Musashi, I know I'm going down a road, guys, sorry, wrote a book called The Book of Five Rings. It's about samurais and sword fighting and such, the way of life. And he mentions the idea that you should think about something. If you think of your life as you're already dead, all that matters is your legacy. If you think of yourself that way, it goes to what you're talking about, Patricia. What am I doing to secure whatever legacy I want, whatever that is? If the point is, I want to be the best mother or father that there could be, what are you doing right now so that that person who's giving a eulogy goes, oh my God, John was the best father in the world, and here's why, if that's what matters to you. You're the smartest woman he ever met. What are you doing so that someone goes, oh my God, Patricia, smartest woman I ever met? Whatever matters to you, what are you doing? I think you're totally right. Absolutely. Yes. So let me keep going if I could. All right. Patty said, my 19-year-old got a construction flagging job and now wants to work further in that field. A mentorship there would help him tremendously. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Right? What so many people want is someone who they respect, to say, you're doing well, keep going. You're doing well, keep going. People often say people don't want to lead or be led. That's not true. We want to be led. If two things are true, the people respect us and we respect them, then we're happy. Respect is everything, Patty. You're completely right. All right, guys. I want to say thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I hope it wasn't too preachy. I will see you all very soon.